Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Here I am reviewing the AFC East. This is the division I feel like is the second most competitive division in the AFC. But one team that's not being competitive is the Buffalo Bills, sitting at 0-9. And one thing they definitely need is quarterback, because JP Losman, he's been injured for the past few weeks, and even when he played, 3 touchdowns, 9 picks, 897 yards. I know he's been inspiring Carl Henry in the NCAA series, apparently. You got Craig Nall, who's been worse, actually. 2 touchdowns, 11 picks for 585 yards. I mean, do you trust Trent Edwards under center? I mean, why not at this point? I mean, you're 0-9, you're eliminated from the playoffs, you're tied with the Cardinals for the first overall pick. So, and I think the first pick in this case would go to the team who has either the stronger or the weaker strength schedule. I'll look it up on Tankathon later because that's always a good website to go to see how your team's doing. And as a Titans fan in real life, I want us to have the number 1 overall pick, so I want us to ride that tank to the number 1 pick, trade the pick for as much draft capital as possible, which that's something some of these teams could probably do in the offseason. I mean, Buffalo's got nearly $40 million in the cap available. Like, they could sign a little bit of a better running back. I mean, Anthony Davis had an 80 overall. He's had 25 attempts the entire season. Who's been starting? Okay, they've had Dwayne Wright start for most of the year. The rookie out of Fresno State has 216 carries for 648 yards. They seem to want to have this guy become the big star, but I'm not sure, I mean, they've got Lee Evans, 90 overall, Roscoe Parrish, Peerless Prize, Robert Royal when he's healthy. Kevin Everett's been doing already 284 yards and a touchdown. That's decent tight end stats. You got Jason Peters. Like, their offensive line, except for the left side and center don't look all that bad. It's just they have the room to be able to make some moves, but the question is, will they make moves? That's the real question. And now let's get out of the gloomy cold of Buffalo and go down to the nice sunny beaches of Miami, where Miami's biggest need is basically kind of the same as Indianapolis's, is luck. I mean, the thing they do have Dante Culpepper, who's 30, and has had kind of a decent year, actually. Just over 1,000 passing yards through 9 games, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks, but he was injured for a little bit, so they had John Beck under center. He had 256 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And I think Cleo Lemon actually played a little bit. Yeah. Cleo had 2 touchdowns, 3 picks for 216 yards. So what Miami really needs is the injury bug not to be bothering them, because, sure, Lorenzo Booker at running back hasn't been doing too bad. 181 attempts, 633 yards, and a couple of rushing touchdowns. But it's also fumbled the ball 3 times. But Ronnie Brown, before he got hurt in just 65 attempts, had 367 yards and 2 touchdowns. Looked like he was probably going to become a Pro Bowler until he ruptured a disc in his back. And the thing is, they've got nearly $30 million in cap space, so they can make a few moves in the offseason to try to work things out to be able to make an even better team. Because they're 4-5 right now. They could have, if they weren't dealing with so many injuries, maybe they'd be leading the AFC East, actually. But a team that's tied for the AFC East lead is the New York Jets at 6-3 in a tie with the Patriots. And I think the biggest need for the Jets are both offensive line help, because you have Wade Smith at a 78 overall, Jacob Bell at a 79 overall, and also tight end, because you got Chris Baker at a 79. But a couple good tight ends may be coming out of this draft, especially from, I think McNary Central probably has a tight end coming out of the draft, so you can get him, and you have a good, nice little target to complement LaFurnace Coles, Jericho Cotry. You also have Thomas Jones that can be able to help out Leon Washington, all to help out Chad Pennington, Chad Pennington maybe killing Clemens a little bit because of Chad Pennington having a 60 injury rating. Not an injury rating you want to see on a quarterback. I'd probably draft a backup quarterback just to be safe, if you don't trust Kellen Clemens at all. And last but not least, the New England Patriots. Again, 6-3 record. And the only reason why New England is ahead of the Jets is because I'm pretty sure they beat the Jets earlier in the season. No, Jets actually have tiebreaker, 20-27. So I don't know why the game has New England above. Well, I mean, they're tied at 6-3, so that's more of my mistake, not the game's mistake. But coming off their bye week, they lost 2 straight. They got surprisingly dominated by the Colts, 19-7. And then the week before that, they lost to the Redskins, 21-12. Thing is, after the loss against the Jets, they went on a 6-game win streak. So heading into this game against Buffalo, they're looking to start up another 6-game win streak, which leads to a rematch against the Eagles, another game against the Dolphins. So they can go ahead and finish up the division right here and maybe take it from the Jets. I mean, the Jets have played one against the Patriots. They beat the Dolphins. They've already swept the Bills. So all they have division-wise is another game against the Dolphins and a game in Foxborough. Plus, they got to travel to Nashville in Week 16 to face the Titans. So, fun. I get to determine the AFC East. But the biggest thing that I feel like New England does need is, kind of the same thing as Tennessee, actually, cap space, because they only have $10 million in cap space, which, considering looking at their roster, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of moves New England can pull off for the offseason. You've got a guy named Nick Kazier as a starting right tackle. Gotta find somebody better than that, in my opinion. They've got Albert Hainsworth, and he's not even interested in joining the Patriots. That's crazy to see, And it's crazy to see that because, you're in a situation where you're with one of the best teams in the league. Then again, Albert Hainsworth was always a problem, So they gotta look for a defensive tackle, most likely in the draft. They can't pick one up in free agency. If they were to They could re-sign Asante Samuel right now. He's one of their best defenders right now. They've got a lot of guys on one-year deals, but just looking at the roster, you know, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. They have 19 players on their roster that have 1 year left on their deal. And I'm pretty sure they can't sign everybody. In fact, I mean, Teddy Bruschi's 38, so he's most likely going to be gone at the end of the year. Yeah, this guy named Larry Izzo, who's 32. You've got Teddy Bruschi, you've got Chad Scott, Torrey James, Jabbar Gavney. We already talked about Albert Hainsworth, so yeah, they need cap space in the worst way, because $10 million to try to keep this team together, to try to keep a potential Super Bowl bid going, it's going to be difficult, you know? And that's it for the AFC East, and I will see you all next time.